What is good, everybody? What's up? I am the Luis Zapatero. I am the Director Z, and we are here with another video I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to start doing this more consistently as a series. I'm going to call this Cursed or Not, and we're going to be talking about not just film sets, but for this particular one, we're going to be talking about film sets. And I'm going to be giving you scenarios and certain stories that what I'm aware of and the information that I was given of certain cursed film sets, and whether you think whether or not they were actually visited or actually tainted by supernatural forces. Now, I don't claim to be a scholar in the supernatural or witchcraft. Let's just get that out of the way right now. So if some of this shit sounds shoddy and a little bit, that's because, well, I'll do some more research in the future. But yeah, right now this series is called Cursed or Not, and let's get right into it. So, the first movie we're going to talk about today is The Omen. And I think for a lot of people, The Omen is associated for a lot of people with, the Antichrist and the devil. And it kind of goes without saying, if you do a movie like this and you invite those kind of forces into whatever you do or wherever you're filming, more power to you. And just to let you know right now, this movie did have a religious advisor on set, much like The Exorcist 2, which is another movie we're going to get to soon. But whether it was cursed or not, there was such a phenomenon around this Richard Donner directed movie that it somewhat just became kind of like a stigma, or like it became somewhat of a social norm to just believe that bad shit was happening on that set, considering they were talking about the face of evil, like the child of evil, the one that would grow up and get into a political role and be revealed to be none other than the Antichrist, Damien himself. And the religious advisor, his name was Robert Munger. And the thing was that Richard Donner had already been known for, it's just Richard Donner was already kind of known in the Hollywood field at the time. So when they were filming, they were thinking about already going to London to film for most of the shots of, the outside, and like this kid's supposed to be like someone who's a political position. So they're going to have this guy who's like a US ambassador to Rome and Europe. And so they're going to shoot it mostly in London in 1975. But for those of you who don't know, the IRA, which was very critical of London at the time, was very active at this time with explosives and guns and firefights. So that's another thing just to keep in mind when you hear about some of this stuff. But since they were shooting in London, actors and people on set and writers like Gregory Peck would have to take flights in order to get there. The two flights that would get there were struck by lightning. One was holding the titular actor, Gregory Peck, and another one was holding the writer of the movie. Both hit by lightning. Okay, we're already off to a little bit of a weird, what the fuck kind of start, right? There was another flight that Gregory Peck was supposed to get on that he had missed. And this is where it actually gets, omenish, scary. Plane takes off, hits a school or a flock of birds, or whatever they're called, immediately starts going down. Didn't even reach the end of the runway, it hits the floor. And as you know, when it nosedive, it's still gonna fucking hit the ground and drag a little bit. This is where it gets scary. It's already scary for a plane crash, but look. When that plane was crashing and dragging forward, it hit a car with a wife and some children. And you're not going to believe this next part. The wife and the children were of the pilot of the fucking plane that crashed. They had just dropped them off, and they were driving away, and then they were driving off only to see a plane dragging right down and coming way too fast for the car to do anything, and it hit them. So yeah, we already have two planes being struck by lightning, and people miraculously survived it. But that Gregory Peck plane that he missed had a bunch of passengers on board, and many people died. Not just the pilot and his wife and kids, which was a horrible, horrible accident that a lot of people, even on set, were just brushing off as coincidence. Come on, man. How does that not set anybody off? Ugh. It killed everyone on board. And then the pilot killed his own wife and kids as he was crashing onto the other end of the runway. Oh my god. And then here's the thing: the producer of the movie was going to a restaurant in London, and I think it was called Steve's Restaurant or Steve's Manor or some shit, Stevens or something. And when they were going there, not even like 5 feet or a couple feet away from the restaurant, boom! They hear a massive explosion, and they just see debris, and they see people coming out in alarms and sirens, and people are bringing out people in bandages and bleeding. If they had sat a second earlier in that restaurant, they'd be fucking dead. But I feel like I should go back to the IRA thing, because the IRA was targeting a lot of people and doing a lot of bombings at the time in 1975 in which this movie was shot. But am I still skeptical that this film was cursed? No, if you do a movie about the son of the devil, of course it's going to be cursed. But, okay, here's the thing. So, as we all know, there were some concerns about the actress that played the mom, who was known as Lee Remick. The scene where the son and where Damien and her mom go to the zoo, and it's one of those safari parks, or whatever. You're supposed to drive in with your car and just leave your windshields, leave your windows up, and you're supposed to lock your car, which doesn't really seem like a lot of protection, considering it's a full safari park with a bunch of animals. But then Lee Remick's car stalls in the middle of the baboon fucking area. Nobody planned this. Nobody even... I don't even know if they checked maintenance of the car beforehand. But it stops in the middle of there. These baboons are all just sitting around. They see the car. They're running. They're rushing this car. They are fucking annihilating this car. This was not planned. This was not meant to happen. Like, it was meant to, scary. The baboons were meant to, attack or whatever. But the car was never meant to be stalled. And the scene was never meant to prolong that way. They were supposed to have an animal handler on set to stop it and everything, and they were supposed to say cut, but it never happened. Lee Remick's genuine terror in the car is so real. It's almost like that Cujo scene. Like that Cujo wasn't cursed, but that scene where they're getting attacked by the dog in the car was genuine, because she was actually trying to lock the door, but they knew that the dog wasn't going to actually it was an actor dog, but still. It was very visceral and very real. I don't know how real that story is. Along with another story that's coming up right here. Supposedly, a lion handler lost his life when they were location scouting, and the lion and the animal handler was supposed to be doing something he wasn't supposed to do, and I guess he had left the cabin open, and a pack of lions had attacked him. The reason I'm bringing this up, and this may not have happened, is because there were also news outlets that reported it was a tiger that attacked this zookeeper animal handler. That's why I wanted to keep it right here, because this may or not have happened, like that Cujo story. I'm getting a lot of my information from YouTube docs and that Shudder documentary of cursed films, which I haven't seen in a while. I really should have. Why didn't I watch that before I made this video? I just put a bunch of talking points on my notes. So yeah, Lee Remick's thing got stalled. The animal handler may or may not have been killed by a lion and or a tiger attack. So yeah. Then, for those of you who haven't seen this movie in a while, there is a pretty rough and early depiction of a decapitation, of one of those glass windows coming out and just going of someone's head, and it's a slow motion, and the head's spinning around and goes down back on where the neck hole is. It's a pretty very visceral, awesome, violent scene. Along with he's like, "Happy birthday, Damien! It's all for you!" And she fucking goes and hangs herself, and everyone's like, "Ah!" So many great scenes in this movie. But near to when that scene of the decapitation with the glass window was shooting, a man was in an automobile accident. And you guessed it, the man was decapitated. That's not even the scary part. The scary part was the sign that was seen before the accident was happened. Apparently the sign that they saw there before the accident occurred said this: Omen with 2 M's, 6.6 kilometers that way. Yeah, I would have been like, nope, time to wrap up. Let's go. Now, unfortunately, the movie did get finished shooting. There was no control over that, whether anybody liked it or not. Richard Donner was adamant, even after receiving death threats. He even had one from some guy that was saying the streets will run red with your blood for what you did. Like, the dude was just making a movie, man. He's not actually like, okay. At the time, the satanic panic or whatever, and Satanism being portrayed in such a weird way in movies, it was, yeah. So, when we're talking about curses and cursed films, is it really possible for that to happen? Can you invite a gateway of evil by just filming something as evil as this, like the story of the Antichrist? Yes and no. Apparently, according to black magicians and the scholars of that stuff, apparently a curse has to be done with a certain ritual and or a covenant. And if you don't know what a covenant is, it's sort of a contract between a certain superior party to an inferior party. And there are certain consequences and or curses that occur if the criteria of the inferior party is not met, which in layman's terms is a curse. Covenants used to be a way to instill that curse onto people if you know those people didn't do what you wanted or they weren't following your way. So it goes all the way back to times of like Egyptian mummification and excavation and Mesopotamian rituals and biblical stuff too. But curses are usually supposed to be formed in like pacts and like they're supposed to be done with other people's blessings and like pieces of skulls and candles and words. Apparently, when it comes to that witchcraft and magic stuff, words are very powerful and they have to be, you know, put into the universe. And like the power of your words is very apparent in no matter what you do. Like the power of wills and or the sympathy, the power of sympathy, which is the thing you get when you will something, or like when something is energy is put into something and it's going into what you want, like manifestation. But there's another thing like voodoo dolls, even though in movies they're pretty portrayed kind of terribly in oversimplification. But the thing is, when you grab like someone that you want or someone that you love or you care about or someone that you want hurt and you put like their fingernail or their hair in that said doll that's supposed to look like them, supposedly what you do to that doll or what you're energizing or feeling into this doll is supposed to happen forthwith and or tenfold to the doll or the person that it is portraying or manifesting. But like again, I'm not really a student or thing on that. So like in order to curse someone or in order to hurt someone or in order to make someone else feel something or to like, you know, be punished for it, another witch or another person of black magic or another person who studies witchcraft and Satanism actually has to do something to say curse a film set and or a person and or give them unfortunate events or give them circumstances that would make them go, why is this happening? What? This is horrible. I think I'm cursed, you know. So now we move on to the next topic of which is The Exorcist. Now, was this movie cursed? Without a doubt in my fucking mind, because yeah, in order to have a priest not only like bless the set in which you were on, yeah, circumstances literally do point to this movie, along with a lot of people dying associated with this movie. It may have been cursed. And just like The Omen, there are stories that'll always come out about it, and we're about to go through them right now. Like I said, people close and related to those who were working on the film had died. Linda Blair's grandfather and 2 other actors that were working on the movie died. Max von Sydow brother had died while the movie was filming. The temperature settings monitor and manager had died, the person that was supposed to be regulating how cold it was. And then it started getting out of nowhere, all kinds of bad shit was happening. There were fires happening. There were all kinds of fucking and then the whole, you know, the possession thing of Linda Blair. Her actual groans and moans of pain were genuine because the lacing had actually broke off or came loose. That was because she was tied to this certain lacing contraption that was under the bed that was pulling her back and forth, and it was supposed to be safe. But when it came loose, it started yanking on her back and her spine. So when she was actually doing this, it was fracturing and actually like dislocating parts of her spine. And like, I no longer look at that scene with like the reveling like, whoa, that's scary and shocking. Like, no, that woman is in actual fucking pain. William Friedkin might have been out of his goddamn mind. He might have been a Stanley Kubrick on this fucking set, just going that extra mile, not just for the shot, but just for the completion of the movie, and just going that like psychological route. There were rumors that the man may have fired off firearms on set, not at people, but fired them off on set in order to provoke genuine fear and terror out of people. Yeah, that's fucking weird. Why would you do that? Especially on a fucking movie that's already as terrifying as this. You just say, oh, well, I need them to jump. Boo! What the fuck? It's like the whole Alec Baldwin thing with the whole, he was supposed to be holding a prop gun shooting someone and he actually fucking killed someone. It was manslaughter. But the thing was, they were trying to charge him with manslaughter. Alec Baldwin wasn't guilty because the prop manager is supposed to be putting blanks in there so that it looks real and it goes, pfft, makes a sound, nothing comes out. But the person who put it in his hand said, all right, you're good. Didn't check it, didn't look into it, didn't think if there was an actual round. And then he had it. They say action, boom. He shoots. Is that really his fault? That's another thing we're going to talk about. The whole Brandon Lee Crow situation. We're going to talk about a lot of movies. I'm not sure the Twilight Zone movie was cursed. I just think that guy's an asshole. You know, fucking the guy who did it. What's his name? Landis. Yeah, Landis. I just think he's a fucking prick and he's an asshole and I don't know why he's still around. Well, like, I don't know why people still mention him like in the same like, oh, American Werewolf. No, just like shut the fuck up. He's a piece of shit and he deserves death. And yeah, even when people would ask, would you ever work with Landis again, John Landis again? Like they asked Eddie Murphy if he would work with John Landis again after Beverly Hills Cop 3, and he said, you have a better chance of that guy in the Twilight Zone movie working with him again, which is messed up to say, but it's true, because nobody likes working with that fucker, apparently. But yeah, that situation, the Alec Baldwin situation, not cursed, nothing happened on those sets, just terrible, unfortunate accidents that could have been prevented from terrible fucking people. But in this case, it's because the portrayal and the Exorcist and the demon that they were trying to portray in the movie, it's Pazuzu. Which actually, when they do the excavation scene at the beginning of the movie with the big statue with the wings and stuff, that is actually pretty accurate because it's supposed to look like Hatra, and it is Hatra in the movie apparently because that's northern Iraq, and Pazuzu is actually a demon that comes from northern Iraq lore and all that. And Pazuzu's mortal enemy was Tamashu. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So the thing is, there was parts of the movie where they actually got like masks to like look like the demon Pazuzu. And when you talk about subliminal messages are supposed to be images that you don't really see that are there. But the mask and the scene where you're like, oh, did you see that? See what? The face. That you can actually see. There are people who can actually see Pazuzu's face. So that doesn't count as subliminal messaging, no matter how many Exorcist fans try to say that. That's actually portraying Pazuzu in the fucking movie. And the reason I'm talking about both of these movies is because they carried such a stigma into that satanic panic movement or whatever. Another thing is of how differently the stars of these movies were treated. It's amazing how the kid of the Omen movie can like be this star of this one movie and not do a sequel and just kind of disappear into the diaspora. But Linda Blair and fucking the actress Reagan do the Exorcist movie, and they have this stigma that they might actually be the devil. It was confirmed that Linda Blair was assigned bodyguards because people were actually looking at her thinking, is she actually the devil? Like, come on, dude. Like, I get it. It was a long time ago. But why is it that the girl gets the stigma that she might be the devil, but the kid from the Omen doesn't get jack shit? He just disappears and gets to live his own life, but this woman gets hounded every day like, oh, she's evil. Alright, that's more or less how I'm going to conclude it. It's a little 20-minute cursed or not video. If you want to put some comments of anything that I missed or any mistakes that I made about the information between The Omen and The Exorcist. And if you have any other cursed films or cursed situations that you want me to look into that you think may have happened. It doesn't even have to be this. It could be like, hotel sightings or ghost sightings or shit like that. I'm just going to make this fucking as weird and general as possible because this is the stuff I like, so... Alright, y'all, thanks for watching, and please, if you haven't, like and subscribe. Go watch an old video of mine from this page. Follow my Twitch, twitch.tv, LU_ZOD. I will put my Twitter and my Twitch and everything in the link in the description below. Please share this video, please like this video, and please subscribe. It would very, very much be helpful to me. I'm coming back with all these videos, and I'm coming back with a vengeance, baby. So thank you, and Later.